Welcome, residents, to the Dr. DC podcast. My name is producer Richard, and across from me is the Doctor himself.
Hello.
Each week we talk about the weird and wonderful world of DC while fielding questions from listeners like you.
Fuck yes.
This is not...
We are back.
This is not the second time we've done this, so we're not back again. Guess who's back?
So low energy. Such lower energy the second time around.
So pissed.
We're back in the studio.
Yes, we are. We're back together, physically actually in the same room again.
Yeah, we're sitting on each other's laps recording a podcast.
Just like we always did.
The way we always did.
The way God intended.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
It's been a long...
No. That's the song that plays when we end the podcast. And each of our podcast streams go on a different bandwidth. Internet. They take a different internet ramp.
God, you're so cool.
Yeah.
You're so young.
I know things.
Yeah. You're so with it. That's right. We've finally come back together.
Yeah, it's been like 5 weeks since we've been in the same room recording a podcast.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah, it's weird. Let's never do that again.
Yeah. Everything else can fall aside, but this is forever.
Yeah. You hear me, family?
Know your value.
Jesus Christ.
We got a review.
Hey!
That's 5-star review from Podchaser from Jacob Marcos. you want to do the bit again.
It was a good bit.
Yeah, but we can't do it.
No, it doesn't make sense.
The lightning doesn't strike twice, my friend.
It certainly doesn't strike 207 times.
No, it doesn't happen.
Plus 14 specials and 3 annuals.
Jesus Christ, don't remind me how much we're doing this. Are you sure it's the...
Over 100 doubles.
Sure this is not the 853rd episode?
Ooh. Oh, you'll know.
I mean, you'll hear it.
Oh, I should have saved this for that episode.
No, if we're doing
11 years from now.
Yeah. If we're still doing this, you can fucking kill me. We'll be on to our third podcast by that.
Oh, easily.
Though, to be honest, Jordan Morris's podcast has been going on for that long.
Yeah. There are podcasts that have been on for a long time.
Let's be the supernatural podcasts.
Yeah. Yeah. What does Jacob say?
This is my favorite podcast ever! To be fair, it was all in all caps and there was an exclamation mark at the end.
I think that's the exact reading he would have wanted.
Is he dead?
I realized after I said it that it sort of made it sound like he was dead.
It's what he would have wanted.
Yeah, we're respecting his wishes. As his favorite podcast ever.
Yeah.
We're the executors of his review.
In his final moments, he whispered, "This is my favorite podcast ever." Yeah.
And that's when his family was like, I think he's completely gone now. We can unplug him.
Yeah, he's been gone for minutes now. I think this
he's
is just
conscious and saying things they unplug him.
I think it's just the gas leaving his body.
His death rattle was a 5-star review of our show.
If you guys do that, that counts as 100 reviews.
It counts as 2.
Let's not get crazy.
Yeah, let's not just give counts away. You know how much we value counts. You
can freaking count terrorism into this? Do you want to do that?
I made the mistake of thinking of them.
That's part of the game.
Yeah.
You lost the game.
Oh, not that stupid bullshit again.
All right, let's get to the news. First piece of news, Marie Javins is DC Comics editor-in-chief.
Yeah, this is news from just like today or yesterday or something like that. They just named her as editor-in-chief. She's been an editor on a bunch of different titles and stuff like that.
Are you being surprised that this was timely news? People come to this podcast for the most timeliest.
I remember a time where both because of our recording schedule and also just because of like doing things last minute, it was like we were always doing news like 8 to 11 days old.
Now, due to the same factors, we're doing things hours after it came out.
Yeah. She's the new editor-in-chief. She's been an editor at DC for maybe like 5 or 6 years. I think she joined when they were moving offices like cross-country to Burbank.
Yeah.
And she's worked on a bunch of things, including death metal. But she's the new editor-in-chief. It's cool because as they've been sort of like filling these positions that were sort of vacated and things like that when they were doing those big executive shakeups, the people they've been naming are generally either people of color or women. I think it's like a cool... I think it demonstrates like a commitment to doing things a little bit differently than they had been done before when it was all just white guys running DC.
Yeah.
Plus all those cool announcements and stuff coming for like DC Future State, like that, like seeing like Nubia coming back, seeing that cool new like Brazilian Wonder Woman, all like the Flash with like the blade legs.
Oh yeah.
All that kind of stuff. Like I think there's some like neat ideas being bandied about, some cool new things coming from DC. So I think it's dope. I'm excited.
Yeah, hell yeah. And to have somebody not a man. That's great.
Always, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what is DC's like arguably most critically acclaimed, not necessarily commercially successful, but most critically acclaimed best kind of publications they ever did was Vertigo. That was Karen Berger. Like,
yeah.
If anyone out there that's still like clinging to the idea somehow that like comics are a man's game, is like you're wrong. I bet your favorite comics were edited by a woman.
Yeah. 100%.
Or written by, you know, Rachel Pollack on Doom Patrol or whatever, right? Like,
exactly. I think some of the best comic book stuff currently in existence is written by women.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, next piece of news. First look at Javicia Leslie in new Batwoman batsuit.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's not a vastly different batsuit from the previous season, but obviously it's a new batsuit because it's a new actor. Yeah, I think it looks dope. It's a cool look. I'm excited to see what they do with it, you know? That new character that she's playing, Ryan Wilder, just was also introduced in the comics. I mean, they'll probably do something different in the comics than what is happening on the show. I can't imagine they're going to get rid of Kate Kane or kill off Kate Kane, but it's cool. Like they did with Diggle when he was, you know, a character growing in popularity. He was introduced in the comics. I think it's cool to bring in elements of one thing into the other. It doesn't always have to flow comics to somewhere else. It's nice when things from animation like Harley or things from, you know, the TV shows work their way back into the comics. I think that's cool. Yeah.
Awesome. And the last piece of news, first look at Jason Todd as Red Hood in Titans revealed. Yeah,
I think it looks dope. Some people are hating on this costume, but I don't get it. The Titans costumes in general are pretty dope.
Yeah.
I mean, this is one that like we're getting actual looks at, but other people are supposed to be getting costume upgrades, including Beast Boy, though not a full superhero costume, apparently. I think Raven is getting a costume upgrade this year. I think it might be cool to see, because I mean, we all know Donna Troy is going to come back. It'd be cool to see her get like maybe the black suit with the white stars on it. You know, she had like the red, more like the Wonder Girl kind of suit before. It'd be cool to see her in more of like a Donna Troy suit.
Yeah,
I think that would be dope. I still want to see Starfire in something like really alien, but you know, Blackfire is going to be one of the antagonists this season, so maybe we'll have an avenue to get her in some like Tamaranian armor or, you know, whatever, something cool like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, in general, I think that Red Hood costume looks dope. I'm curious to see how they work that transition, because I mean, I think it's pretty obvious they're not going to have Joker kill him and have him come back and be the Red Hood. So it'll just be neat to see like how a lot of the pieces of that are tied to that, right? Like the Red Hood is the Joker's old persona. So Jason claims it from him. It's like a fuck you to the Joker. So how the show navigates that, or what inspires him to be the Red Hood without those events happening, I'm curious.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, with that, why don't we get into this week's theme?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
We're going all the way to the 853rd century.
Jesus.
It's the year 85,201 all the way to 85,300.
I mean, how do you even write for that?
Well, I'll give you 3 guesses who the writer is.
Fair. Does it begin with a mo and end with an orison?
Let's just say that there's probably a future swamp somewhere.
You like to go in my future swamp.
I've been traveling through the eras. Yeah, we're talking DC 1 million. That's
crazy.
Comic event from 1998.
Yeah.
And it's called DC 1 million because when it is set is basically when like the millionth issue of like Action Comics would come out.
Yeah.
If they published monthly forever.
Jesus.
So starting from 1938, the millionth issue would come out in the 853rd century. That's why that is the...
Really?
Yeah, so that's why it's called DC 1 million.
That makes sense.
So it's like a 4-issue miniseries, and then there were a bunch of tie-ins. The different series that were running at the time all put out a number 1 million issue that tied into the event. But yeah, it's such a crazy far removed future. You know, it's funny. You know, things like Star Trek, like 24th century, 25th century, you go like, man, that's the future, but it's like, it feels like tenable.
Yeah.
And then like Discovery, we're like, man, how are you going to show like 32nd century? Like, what a crazy thing. Or, you know, Legion of Superheroes, 31st century, crazy. And then to be like, no, there's been like there's been 83,000 more years.
I just like, you can't possibly really...
I mean, when you really think about it, what is happening in this couldn't possibly be that far in the future.
No.
Because, like, they're still, like, even vaguely humanoid.
Well, that's, yeah, exactly,
like, they're not just, like, jellyfish scions or whatever, like... but
I mean,
but it is kind of
millions of years for that evolution to happen. But
hey, not if you hit warp 10.
Oh yeah,
Janeway and Paris turned into those lizard people.
That's true.
Yeah,
Fair.
from the slipstream drive.
Even though, like in Next Generation, remember they go to like warp 50 in that one episode because they just like they get that weird species on their the ship and they just end up like.
Yeah, they were
like
fine.
Edge of space or something.
It was something different about the slipstream thing. Yeah. Or maybe Paris just is a very good pilot.
What a
J'accuse.
Throwing down the gauntlet of Voyager.
Yeah. I've got some hot takes.
Hey, hashtag spoilers.
But yeah, I think it's kind of a cool idea to visit like this insane far future. And they even talk about it in the event.
Yeah.
Like the heroes from the present are like, doesn't it comfort you to know that like we did enough good that our example has lasted that long?
Yeah.
Like there's some like, it's sort of this kind of, it's this interesting thing where they're like, my God, like we actually, we make an impact. We're like, it's not just like a futile fight against evil. It's sort of like, there's something kind of interestingly hopeful about the concept behind DC 1 million.
Yeah, I like the idea of it. I mean, I don't know nothing about it, but
yeah. I mean, we've got lots of questions, but the basic version is that like universe-wide, there are these things called Justice Legions that all sort of are modeled on different teams throughout the ages. Some are like modeled; they kind of have heroes in them that are like Legionnaires, or there's heroes in them that are like the Justice Leaguers, but most of them are obviously descendants from 85,000 years or 83,000 years or whatever. A couple of them are the originals.
Really?
That have lived that long.
Jesus.
Including Superman.
Oh my god.
Well, there is also a descendant Superman, but Superman lives to that future. And so does Martian Manhunter.
Because Kingdom Come isn't that far, is it?
No, God, Kingdom Come is meant to be like 30 years in the future.
But he's like already gray in that, though.
I mean, that's also an Elseworld thing. It's its own story.
Fair.
In Batman Beyond, Superman is gray there too. In Morrison's version of Superman, though, is basically immortal.
God, what a terrible existence.
I mean,
I barely want to live 30 years.
In this book, when Superman is told that, like, the premise is basically that Superman, our Superman, has been in the sun, like in exile or something, or self-imposed exile for like 15,000 years. He's finally going to leave the sun. And they want to celebrate by throwing basically like gladiator games, and like superheroes will show feats of strength and stuff like that. And so the Justice Legion Alpha comes back in time to the modern era to get Superman's old friends that are all long dead so they can be there to celebrate with him.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And they tell Superman that, and he's like, "You want me to go to my own like congratulations party? I'm still alive."
Yeah, like I don't
like,
even want this.
There's a good panel where you're like, "I don't think Superman wants this."
No, that's really funny. Good lord. Well, we got a ton of questions.
Yeah, let's do it.
People are stoked, so let's get to Facebook.
All right, go to the Fates and the book. Go to the Facebook.
That's right. First question comes from James Bennett, who asks, if the story takes place so far in the future, what is its importance to the main continuity? Is it important or just a fun event on its own?
Right. So, I mean, what the event does very smartly is it's not just the heroes go to the future. The setup, like I said, is that the Justice Legion Alpha comes back in time, basically with a party invitation. And the Justice Leaguers want to go, but they're like, we still have to be the Justice League.
Yeah.
And the Justice Legion folk are like, we will stay here for you. We'll watch Earth. We got this. So they send the Justice League to the future. The Justice Legion stays in the past, and then you follow both eras. So this kind of time loop sort of conspiracy happens where the villain Solaris, this artificial sun from the future, has to send his own coding to the past so that they're forced to build a vessel for it so that he will exist. Like, he basically, his plan is to create himself so he exists so that he can take out Superman, who fought him because he exists, because he created himself.
Sure.
So it makes the present relevant.
Yeah.
There are events transpiring that involve Vandal Savage, involve basically this sort of like techno-organic virus, involve the Justice Legion trying to basically operate as heroes in what for them is like the Paleolithic age, right?
Yeah.
And then it also involves the Justice Leaguers in way out of their depth against a tyrant sun in this far future that they know nothing about. So the event actually does a pretty good job, I would say, of like the far future isn't so far removed that you don't care about what happens there. And also the present isn't like not a factor. If it was just the Justice League goes to the future, then I think you can make the case that it's like, well, this is a fun little side trek. But they kind of make it all connect. Feels very, it feels more closely linked than it could be.
Jesus.
But it's Morrison too, so it's about...
I was gonna say, I'm like, did you say this is a Morrison?
So,
I don't know.
It's about, like, legacy and that. It's about them confronting, like, the good and the bad things of their heritage and their, what they leave behind, right?
Of course. It's just that Morrison thing where I'm just like, fuck you for making me do this.
You know what? When I wanted to do this episode, I wasn't even thinking about it. I mean, the pattern is clearly I am drawn to Morrison because even when I'm not deliberately doing it, I'm like picking Morrison stuff.
I mean, it's what you enjoy, right?
It's clearly, there's clearly something about it that I'm into.
All right, let's go to the next question.
Okay.
From With Only Just Dan Dunn.
Dan Dunn.
I've been watching a lot of The Voice. I feel like that would be my
you
entry
think it's
song.
helping?
No, I think that's my entry song.
Your entry song is It's Only Just Dan Dunn?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think I get a 4-chair turn.
Yeah, but I think Blake makes you work for it.
Oh, yeah, but you want Daddy Shelton.
If I could be on any The Voice, I'd want to be on the UK one because they have Tom Jones.
Oh.
Tom Jones is one of their
not
coaches. I'd be like, what's new, pussycat? And he'd be like, no.
No, whoa. I think that the thing watching The Voice is so I think so many people who choose Blake is because they have daddy issues because he's such like the proverbial dad.
Yeah.
He's such like dad humor.
Of all of the coaches, he's the
energy.
one that can offer you the least.
But surprisingly, he wins the most.
I know, but like he's the least good
Singer, yes.
I think he's also like the least like musically knowledgeable. Like I think like he's a good musician, but like he's not, you can tell the people that like know their theory.
Yes.
And he's not that.
What he's really good at, the one thing that I have noticed over the last like 10 years is that he's really good at choosing the songs for people.
Right.
He's really good at understanding like what someone should say.
He does seem to roll more on intuition than any of the other
100%.
ones.
Like Kelly is like your fun mom.
Yeah.
Who's also secretly the best singer.
Yeah.
I think. And then
I think I would want Kelly.
I want to hang out
coach.
with Kelly.
Yeah.
But I also secretly want to hang out with John Legend a lot. But
Yeah,
I also think
fair.
I'm like nowhere near cool enough, and he's just gonna be like, "Fuck this kid." Like,
yeah,
that's. But then I get to be maybe hang out with Chrissy Teigen. That'd be kind of cool.
right. So you want to go on The Voice for the connections?
Does that surprise you?
I mean, I guess that's the reason to go on those.
Yeah,
that's. I just described what the show was.
Do you want to go on there because it's a singing show where you can connect with people? It's ridiculous.
Because maybe they'll remember you and they'll help you in your career.
Don't you understand? The Voice is about the art. So Dan Dunn asks, I was like, where?
I want to see that show.
art?
I want to see the art. I want to see a show where like someone goes out and just starts painting and then 4 painters hit a button and their chair turns around and they go like, I didn't know what you were doing, but I'm glad I hit my button.
Yeah.
I couldn't hear anything.
The brushstroke sounded Picasso, but it ended up being Rembrandt.
That's what I want.
Yeah. I will say that Songland is better for if you actually want real
I have no
artistry.
idea what that is.
So Songland is the same idea as The Voice, except for, well, it's not really the same idea, but the rough idea is that it's instead of singers, it's songwriters. So people come and bring their songs,
right?
And then they're writing for like the guest host judge.
Oh, I kind of like that.
So they bring in somebody like fucking like Kelly Clarkson or something, and they're like, these people want to write a song for you.
Right.
And so they choose basically, and then the other 3 judges are also like the best songwriters in the music. And then basically they take the like top 3 songs and then go and take them away and make them better songs.
Oh, tight.
Yeah. So whether they need like better lyrics or like just update the music a bit.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's tight.
It's actually
I would watch that.
It's bad.
Sorry, what does Dan Dunn ask? Yeah, whatever. We got a podcast.
Yeah. Dan asks, what are the 1 million versions of the Doc and Richard?
Oh.
And which Justice Legion would you join?
So, I mean, for a bit of context before we answer this, because
I
we
have no idea.
Yeah. So, for example, Superman 1 million is, his name is Cal Kent.
No, not Superman $1 million, because Superman never made any money.
That's right. Well, at least not from Saving the World from Solomon Grundy.
Sometimes I just...
World will never see another man like him. Who put the dog in the doghouse? You did. did, baby, you did.
Wow, you're really going for a deep cut there.
So Cal Kent not only has the sort of powers you expect from Superman, freeze, breath, strength, flight, all that kind of stuff. He, at some point in the story, says that
I like his robot brother, Caltech.
The Superman of the 67th century or something like that marries a fifth dimensional imp. Like someone from the race of Mixus Pitlick.
Of course.
And so when that happens, it introduces 10 additional senses and powers to the super lineage.
Oh my god.
So Cal Kent has like super ESP. He has like super like computational ability in his brain. Like they talk about how in his time, he also gets additional powers just from the fact that the main Superman Prime, is in the sun, and his force of will is sending extra power out of the sun. So in the 853rd century, Cal Kent has Superman powers, some extra heightened senses, ESP. He can like think through like 3 billion, permutations of a situation in like a second. But when he doesn't have the super sun, he could do like, 300 computational things in a second or whatever, right? So his powers actually like drop drastically even under a regular yellow sun.
Wow.
The Wonder Woman of the 853rd century is a marble statue brought to life instead of clay brought to life. The Amazons in that future had been wandering in space for a while, and then they decided to colonize Venus. And so she is like, so then this statue is brought to life by the goddess of truth. So it's a variation of Wonder Woman's origin. Mm-hmm. The Aquaman of that time is like a sort of more fish-like water being who can like psionically control water and stuff like that. The Batman of that time grew up on Pluto, which is a prison planet, and his parents were prison guards, and during a riot, his parents were gunned down, and so he becomes... he's like, isn't that what happened to Batman? And he becomes a Batman to basically take over this prison planet and run it properly. Jeez. So the 1 million versions often have some sort of tie or connection to the main versions, but with crazy, 85,000 year future new powers. They usually are guarding a planet as opposed to just a city. So the 853rd century versions of us.
So it's really just like concentrating the things about us.
Do you know what's kind of funny about it? At least in the main sort of DC 1 million series, is you don't see a ton of regular citizens. You don't see like, but what is everyone that much more like? You have to assume evolution is taking place, but we don't see a ton of regular citizens. Is there like a ton of galactic crossbreeding? Does everyone have a little bit of Durlin in them? A little bit of like Kaluan, a little bit of Monica, little bit of Monica in their life.
Yeah.
We don't see a ton of that. I mean, we're definitely regular citizens.
Yeah.
I suspect in the 853rd century, podcasts wouldn't be a thing you listen to. They're probably not even a thing that's beamed into your brain. It's probably like we would send like a signal backwards through time, and then it would just become part of like the cultural zeitgeist, and then everyone would already know it. So the full podcast, every episode we ever put out would be a thing people already knew because we're beaming it backwards through time, and it's already recorded and talked about and learned.
Well, now I don't know how I feel.
Yeah.
Okay, what about you? What's your...
I think in 853rd century me, I would hope...
So sufficient at killing themselves.
I think we'd be, either through science or evolution, we'd be beyond our dietary concerns. Which is great.
I love that you go to food first.
Which is great for me. I think I become like full baconator. think I'm like the greatest lesson we could learn from the age of heroes, from the 20th century, from the 21st century, is the lesson of the Baconator.
Okay, what?
And people would be like, we can't. Like, pigs have been extinct for like 60,000 years. And I'll be like, we're going to make it happen. And I would have to, through like incomplete historical records, genetically I'd have to reintroduce pigs and cows.
Yeah.
I'd have to like, I'd be like an archaeologist whose sole goal would be to piece together a Baconator. I think that's me.
Good God.
Yeah. Instead of saying I found like a cave drawing in France, I'd be like, I found a Wendy's menu on Mars.
You find out that face in Mars was actually just Wendy's?
Yeah.
Back from the future?
Yeah, that's... yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so the version of me, I think, would be... I've molded so much with computers and technology,
right?
So that I'm able to be even more efficient and accomplish more.
I was going to say, I think you'd become some sort of like efficiency monster.
Yeah. I think like mostly computerized. Like I basically become Borg.
I'm picturing like, but not like Borg where they kind of look like they're still humanoid. Yeah. I'm picturing more like it almost looks like you're partially phased into a computer. It would just be like sort of like flesh and skin kind of peeking out from a motherboard, just a hand peeking out from like a fan. It would just be like bits of a human like phased into a computer, and you would just be like, I'd be like, I'm making good progress on my Baconator project, and you would say something like, in the time it took you to tell me that, you could have cracked the genome for the pig.
But then I also just make you one of me, because the biggest problem I have is that I can't trust other people to do the job well.
Right.
So
I also think, though, then the big reveal, though, is that you're a master of efficiency. You're this self-propagating machine monstrosity like the Borg or like Control or something like that. But you don't use it for the benefit of like humanity. Or I think you just use it for like, now, finally, I can consume all of reality TV. You're like a brainiac who just like, there's never enough hours in the day. You're like, it's not only Earth that makes content. All of the universe has been making, I think instead of just collecting civilizational knowledge, you would be after everyone's fictional universes.
Oh, yeah.
You would just be like, I've watched every show from every era. I've read every book from every planet, from every author that's ever lived.
Oh, yeah.
I think that would be, you'd be like,
but also I need to,
you'd be like the consumer of art.
But I also need to develop content for all of those different places to also enjoy.
Yeah, you'd also be giving your opinions.
Yeah.
Weekly.
Daily.
Beamed back through time.
I produce more content than humanly able to.
Yeah. I am content.
That's the end result.
Contentor.
Which is funny because the one thing I can't be is content.
Oh. But I'll be happy once I figure out that Baconator.
Oh yeah, that's the key.
I think that's Reed and Richard 1 million.
Yeah, that's perfect. All right, let's leave Facebook and head on over to Twitter.
Twitter.
First question comes from our favorite, Spacey, Sexy Texter.
Ooh, Cosmic DM.
Ooh, taking a rocket ship to those DMs.
That's too fast. Slow down.
Oh, gonna scoot his way over there.
Prepare for re-entry.
Permission to come aboard.
Ooh. No, you'll break the air hatch seal.
Oh, no, it's okay. Everyone needs to break their air hatch seal.
Oh, no. I didn't even mean it like that. What have I done?
It's okay. The first time's always a little uncomfortable.
I stop myself from saying something.
That's okay. Say it.
First cut is the deepest.
First cut is the
That's what that song's about, right?
The first butt is the deep. Surprisingly, the first butt's usually the shallowest.
Jesus, what is wrong with us? Why are we like this?
We can't have anything nice, that's why. Cosmic GM asks, if you could bring one of these characters / books back to current DC, a la New 52 Legion, which would it be?
Okay, I mean, I guess the a la New 52 Legion was the idea that when the New 52 started, the Legion of Superheroes continuity hadn't changed yet. And they couldn't, there was a whole thing where it's like, we can't travel to the past. Something has happened to history. Yeah. So like the Legion was still pre-Flashpoint, but the Flashpoint had happened, and that like the ripple effect hadn't hit them yet, but it prevented them from going to the past because the past was different.
Oh, wow.
Right. So if we were going to bring back a DC 1 million property, I was sort of into the idea of, I think it's the Justice Legion S was made up of a bunch of like Superboy clones, each of which had different powers. There was like one with like aqua powers, and there was one with like psychic powers and stuff like that. I kind of liked that because it did sort of, it evoked for me at least what the logical extension of something like Con-El would be. Con-El, of course, is like the clone son of Superman and Lex Luthor. Mm-hmm. So it's like, once you've cracked the Kryptonian genome, then like, what's stopping you?
I mean, that's true.
That's not 100% what that Justice Legion was, but that's what it makes me think of.
Yeah.
So something like that would be kind of interesting to me. I think I would just want to spend more time on some of those, like the planets of our solar system, though, right? The Flash in the 853rd Century is interesting because that character, John Fox, is actually from the 26th century or the 27th century. So actually is closer to our era by a long shot. Wow. But traveled through time, liked it there, and just stayed. But there's something neat about that perspective. I think it maybe would be cool to have like a Flash 1 million thing, because you get the perspective of someone who has lived in and has adapted to and understands that impossibly distant future.
Yeah.
But they could be kind of our window, because their future distant to us is like the Star Trek distance. It's the tenable distance.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
He's from something we could reach on the horizon, and then he has gone so much further. I think it'd be cool to have like a book sort of centered around John Fox. And plus, Flashes are always kind of fun for those big sort of cosmic stories. Yeah. Anyway, that one feels like it would make sense. A Flash 1 million thing would be cool.
That's right. I mean, the problem with Flash is that he's constantly jumping through time, so.
But so rarely forward. Mm-hmm. And so rarely that far forward. You know, we see a lot of the 25th century where Eobard is from. Yeah. We see even some 64th century where Abracadabra is from. Mm-hmm. But that idea that like someone from the 26th century was just like, I'm just going to keep running and see where it ends.
Oh, that's
and then they just get tired and they're like, I guess I'm here. Yeah. And then they're I dig it here.
Yeah.
You know? And so he protects Mercury in that future.
Oh, that's
of course, you know.
All right. Next piece of news.
No.
Nope.
We're back, baby.
Yeah, just shake off some of the rust. Is that peaking still? Oh, I guess it must be morning. It's not
God
peaking.
Damn it.
It's the scream of a donkey.
God damn it. Fuck you.
That's right. The next question comes from Braydon. Who asks, if you could choose one villain to give the DC 1 million treatment, who would it be and how would you rank them?
Right. It's funny because a lot of characters got the treatment.
Really?
Because basically, like, whatever titles were running at the time got a 1 million issue. They all sort of tied in. So Resurrection Man is part of that story. I mean, it makes sense because he can't die, right?
Yeah.
So Resurrection Man, the Creeper, has a 1 million story.
Weird.
There's an Azrael 1 million story. There's a Hitman 1 million story, but that's kind of parody. But There's a lot of characters that kind of got their shot at it already. Maybe the ones that we didn't see too much of would be like, we have all these Justice Legions. Presumably there must be foes, plural.
Yeah.
So like a Legion of Doom 1 million, a Grodd 1 million. You know, what happens if while humanity was evolving in a certain direction over here, Gorilla City, you know, they went off, they colonized a planet somewhere and no one knew that they were doing it. And then they came back as like, they were already like super evolved before. They were super intelligent and stuff like that. What happens when they come back after like eons and eons? Like, I think there is something kind of neat there that'd be kind of fun. God, let's see. Who else? Oh, do you know what? Those Superboy ones were clones. Because I was about to say, it would be cool to see like OMAC, like something like that original Kirby OMAC kind of character. But OMAC is tied to that Justice Legion S. Like they're all Superboy clones, but they're also part OMAC. It's called like the 1 million something clones or something. So OMAC's already in there. There's characters that were already like Legionnaires. There's a Brainiac like 417 or something like that in that future. God. Maybe just something simple. Let's take it down. Something simple. Green Arrow 1 million.
Oh, wow.
Want to see like what is the... Presumably... There's still the need to like, you know, steal from the rich, give to the poor. Maybe like really lean into the Robin Hood kind of thing. The real like lefty kind of Green Arrow thing. But like, what is the crazy future version of that?
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
Maybe someone who just does not have powers. So many of those 1 million ones are hyper evolved. But maybe this is just like we talked about, like what are the regular citizens of some of these planets like in this era? And it's just one of them takes up vigilanteing among these people. Like Cal Kent, Superman 1 million, talks about like leaping from planets in a single bound, right? Like everything is like stepped up. But like, what is a Green Arrow? Where does a Green Arrow fit in that?
What I think might be interesting is, I mean, you could do this whole like eco thing with Aquaman because, especially with like Oceans Rising, the Atlanteans have like a bigger say in like overworld politics.
Yeah.
Because now suddenly the world's so much more ocean than it is anything else.
Yeah.
So suddenly they have to like really take over, and they're also like, well, you're fucking everything up, and you're like destroying the earth, and so suddenly Atlanteans like are part of like the overworld like politics and. Yeah,
I mean, see now that's an interesting point too, and it makes me think of like. When Bendis was leading up to his Legion book, they put out like a 2-issue mini-series where you followed this character, Rose, who's Rose and Thorn, who lives forever. Yeah. And you watch her in the intermittent 1,000 years. Like, we know something happens to Earth, blah, 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 blah. And then, they have to find like the oceans again and that. It'd be neat to follow a character or a lineage of characters all through that history at different points, because by the time we get to the 853rd century, Aquaman is on Neptune. There's like Neptune is colonized because, of course, it's basically Waterworld, you know. But it would be cool to see like the Atlantean lineage through time, with the oceans rising and then like Earth fucked up, and then we're gonna go colonize somewhere else, and then them evolving, and maybe that's the ultimate answer to this question: is you either have to pick. Like, Atlanteans work because it's like a monarchy, so you just keep handing it down and you follow new characters every couple of pages. Or you pick a character that lives forever, like a Vandal Savage, like a Rose and Thorn, like a Resurrection Man, and you watch all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd also love something like a Brainiac but with Penguin, where like the later generations of Penguin like end up going in the other direction and using their wealth to try to become like vigilantes and be good.
Oh, interesting.
So then suddenly like they're actually like using the Penguin moniker, but like as like a hero.
Right. Oh, interesting. Yeah. I guess that's the other piece of it too, is we always see people adopting like these big icon mantles, of course, because we're building them up as icons.
Exactly.
But like, what else survives, right? Yeah. That's interesting too. Someone 83,000 years from now is like, that Cobblepot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like
from incomplete historical records too. He was a wealthy socialite. He ran businesses. He was an upstanding guy. That Batman was a terror.
Yeah.
Exactly. They get it wrong too.
But also like history's written by like the rich.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting take too. Oh shit. Penguin 1 million?
I kind of want it.
DC execs.
I mean, they've been listening. The checks have been coming in. You're not seeing any of it.
Yeah, but they've been, there's been so many like executive shakeups. I want to make sure the new ones are listening.
Yeah. Next question comes from, there's nobody here named Josh.
All right. Greg.
George.
Could you imagine? It's hosted by George.
Yeah. My son's also name is George. There's nobody here named Josh asks, how much does the ripple effect from event storylines in the current timeline affect this timeline?
Right. So kind of like what we were talking about with the Legion.
Yeah.
That thing that happened in New 52, it's not the first time that we've seen stuff like that, but it really is a ripple effect. An event takes place somewhere, and if it's a big enough event, the ripple goes both ways. That was Flashpoint, right?
Ooh.
Flashpoint was such a big, shattering event that the ripple moved both forwards and backwards in time. So it not only affected things after Barry's mom was meant to die, it also affected things before. It changed who died in the alley in Crime Alley. It changed where Superman landed. It changed all of those things because it rippled outwards. That New 52 Legion thing was interesting because it was like, oh, fuck, something changed in the past. And they were like, but we don't know what. And we can't go there because the past is different. It's blocking us. And then eventually it was partly that the title got canceled, but then we just didn't see the Legion for a while. And then it was like, there is no Legion because Superman was never Superboy.
Wow.
So it never inspired them. So there literally was no Legion. And then in Doomsday Clock, Dr. Manhattan goes back and fixes things. He stops Alan Scott from dying.
Yeah.
The Justice Society exists. That inspires Superman to be a hero earlier. He becomes Superboy. That inspires the Legion to exist, and they all spring back into existence again.
Jesus.
But that's that ripple effect thing, right?
Yeah.
So that's, it's funny when you talk about the very, very far future, because the further away from the impact point, the more I think it takes to change something, because in a lot of these kind of fiction things, there's an idea of like some things are just meant to happen, which of course isn't part of real life, but that's how stories work. And there's a part in DC 1 million where we see Cal Kent. They're stuck in the past. He's trying to punch through the time barrier to get to the future to save the Justice League. And every time he punches the time barrier, something changes. So we see some things like, the clock of the Watchtower is off by 4 hours now. And then we see something like, someone in the 60th century become like the accident that turns them into a superhero happens 30 minutes later than it was supposed to, but it still happens. And I think it's like the further you get from that ripple effect, it's the things that were going to happen are still going to happen unless your event is so big that like it's not a ripple, it's a tidal wave, right? So you could maybe like, kill someone in the past, but as we know with superheroes, they come back to life all the time.
Yeah.
So killing someone in the past doesn't necessarily stop their far future from happening, because in the intervening time in that new timeline, they might just come back again. And then the timeline kind of self-corrects, right? Mm. So what's great about that is that it kind of doesn't matter what's happened in Crises or with Flashpoint. It doesn't matter what happens when a writer comes in and says, like, I think this is how the universe works or whatever, and they change those things. Mm-hmm. You could pretty much always put DC 1 million in and just be like, it's relatively unchanged. They could even have memories of the old things and just be like, oh man, that ripple hasn't reached us yet. Because they're so far in the future. Like, there's something kind of freeing, like, story-wise about that, because it's not tomorrow, right? You kill me now, that changes what tomorrow is. But if you kill me now, that doesn't change 80,000 years in the future. I'm not that important. Like,
wow, that's interesting, yeah.
You know?
That's cool. But yeah, it sort of doesn't hold your feet to the fire with anything.
Yeah, so it's been cool. Like, we've seen little cameo appearances of them in different things over the years and in different continuities, but I think it doesn't cause problems. There's something kind of fun about that with them. That's and it's cool. Just that principle, you know?
Yeah, makes sense. All right, next question comes from, Chai. It's Jake Murphy. Not racist, because it's white.
First time you did that, I was just so worried. I had no idea what was... Because wasn't that also the episode where we were talking about egg foo a bunch?
Well, and also because usually I start out by going, oh! And that can really lead into a lot of different things.
It's always so risky. Oh, Jake Murphy. Terrible. So bad.
As long as you change the last few notes, it's fine.
No. So much of this is making me uncomfortable.
That's all I wanted. I'm so glad we're back. Jake Murphy asks, now that we're finally seeing Black Adam 1 million in the backup of Future State Suicide Squad, what new hero or villain would you like to see reflected in the 853rd Century? We kind of already answered that.
Yeah. Oh, shit. Right. But
maybe you want to talk a bit about Black Adam.
Yeah. I mean, Black Adam is... God, I don't even know that I clocked that he was meant to be the 1 million Black Adam.
Mm-hmm.
Well, shit. I mean, Black Adam is interesting because obviously he has died and come back many times. His powers are tied to magic, which is a very easy way to let that happen. But also his, like, going back to the Golden Age, to the original Fawcett comics, his whole thing was that he was the original champion, like, 5,000 years ago. Mm. Power corrupted him. The wizard, like, kicked him to the other side of the universe, and it took him 5,000 years to fly back to Earth.
Yeah.
So, like, the idea of Black Adam just, like, having this crazy will, this, like, ability to just keep himself going forever because he's got this mission and stuff like that. It would be interesting to see what that amount of time does to him. A character like Vandal Savage, even in this series, he says, like, I've learned everything. Occasionally I rule the world. But even for Vandal Savage, you can see, like, he doesn't always want to rule the world. He gets bored. He's been alive for, at that point, 50,000 years. And then he also lives all the way to that other future. So wonder what that would do to the temperament of someone like Black Adam, who even after 5,000 years was still this kind of, like, hot-blooded, eat quick to temper sort of character. Like, does a 1 million Black Adam just... Is he finally just this very serene, wise kind of...
Oh, that's interesting.
Does he, with the benefit of that time, does he go like, oh yeah, I completely fucked up? Or does it just give him more time to harden his resolve? I'm very curious about that.
And that makes me even think then, what are the Hawks like?
Yeah, I mean, the Hawks are interesting too, because you get that thing where it's like, they're reincarnating. They have memories of their past lives. Yeah. So a certain aspect of their personality is intact.
Yeah.
But you also have to assume it's sort of like a Trill or like the Doctor or something like that, where they're also a little bit different each time. So it's not even like...
But then
it's like, well, how much of this is because of this incarnation and how much of this is because we've been alive this long? Like... can you still, do they get more of a pass for still being like impulsive or passionate or whatever because each life is new, even if with the memories of the old ones, like they get kind of like a new aspect to their personality.
Yeah.
Whereas someone that's just alive the whole time, you sit with it and you either hyper focus or you go like, nope, biggest picture possible. Yeah. The Hawks would be a cool one to examine that with. Especially if one reincarnated a bunch and one stayed alive.
Yeah.
So we already know from that Hawkman series, the current one that's out, that they had a past life in which they were Kryptonian.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Kryptonians are gone, but let's say they are Daxamite or something. And, you know, they just do the same thing Superman's doing. They just live in the sun. They just stay alive forever.
Mm-hmm.
But the other one chooses not to do that and keeps dying and reincarnating. And then they have to reunite. One has lived one life the whole time, and one has lived hundreds of thousands of lives.
Oh, damn.
Now, like, where do you meet?
I like that.
Yeah. Oh, fuck. We're good at this.
Yeah.
Yeah. We should write Hawk World 1 million.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
We just need...
I almost did the song again.
we need somebody to do art.
Yeah. What, you don't like my stick figures?
I love your stick, but... What a figure.
Okay. Well, now I know you're making it up.
Much like the rest of you, it's an amorphous blob. We both know. You making a crying face only is effective for me and no one else.
I'm just going to work on my 83,000-year mission to perfect the Baconator.
Next question.
At the height of their empire, their hubris brought them down, and it's my mission to bring back their greatest achievement.
Yeah, don't you know Wendy's won the fast food
My
wars?
name is Dr. DC, and I'm the hungriest man alive.
Nice. That's nice. Next question comes from our favorite religious representative.
Chris Chan.
That's right, the one and only. Also our legal representative.
Also our illegal. No, you can't say that.
no,
right?
shoot.
That's billable.
Oh, yeah. Fuck.
Damn it.
No. God damn it.
Subscribe to our Patreon.
Yeah. Please, God, so we can afford these bills. If you can ever find us in hot tropical Bahamas.
Hot Yukon. Hot Hukon.
Oh, you're really not good at this. Pretending we're in different places. What? Whoa. What the fuck were you doing?
I don't know.
Whoa. Fucking Robin Williams come back to life? Chris Chan asks, please close the loop on this storyline with Grant Morrison's storylines in JLA and All-Star Superman. Yeah, just, finish his stories.
I mean, the most obvious one is that Solaris, the Tyrant Son, is also in All-Star Superman.
Okay.
All-Star Superman is objectively like its own little reality.
Yeah.
It's not a main continuity story. It's not something like Killing Joke where it's like, and we all know this happened.
Yeah.
It's still its own thing. But Solaris is in there. And has a vendetta against Superman and is this tyrant artificial son and things like that. I mean, he defeats Solaris in that maybe I'm just thinking of the animated one, but defeats him with a combination of a Sun Eater, and then I think he flies through him and destroys him that way. But Solaris is the main antagonist of DC 1 million. There is a connection there. Now, like I said, Solaris' story in 1 million is a little bit crazy, but he has this very specific vendetta against Superman. And I mean, we've talked about this with Morrison before, too. Morrison kind of has this approach where it's not even really about what is or is not continuity. It's more just like, what were the ideas I was working on? Where did I leave that? I'm just going to pick them up over here. They might be part of the same history. They might not. I just want to keep working on it. So, like, that's the stuff with, like, the Cosmic Grail, stuff that he was setting up in Final Crisis and stuff like that. And then reality changed and he was like, I want to do a little bit with that in Multiversity. He sort of alludes to the Cosmic Grail, and then he still never really got to it. Now in his Green Lantern story, he's like, and what if we finally go to Earth 15 and we talk about the Cosmic Grail? Like, you just pick up these threads through his work. You know, we've talked about how Rock of Ages kind of feels like a proto version of Final Crisis. He's always going back and redoing things. So the idea of seeing a character like Solaris in those two things, even though the continuities are not connected at all, is very on brand for him, right? He's like, I'm working on this idea, or I like this concept. I like this design. Solaris has a cool design. I mean, it's a big artificial sun. It's basically like fighting the Death Star or something like that. Like, it's a big eye, super hot machine. It's kind of a cool idea. I'm not sure which other loops I'm meant to be closing, but I don't know that is a loop to be closed. I think it's just that Morrison thing of like, I have this fun idea. I'm going to use it. I don't give a shit what you say is continuity. I'm my own continuity.
Fair.
That's kind of his approach, right?
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. All right. Well, then let's move on. We're leaving Twitter and heading on over to Instagram.
Now we're going to Instagram. Take some questions and answer them.
Taking those questions and answer them.
Let's not get too fancy.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know what to do with all those questions on Instagram.
They're coming again.
Good night, DC.
Oh, you hardcore. Idiot. First question on Instagram comes from the real Josh Gill.
Gill.
Oh, real Gill.
In your area.
Yeah.
Lars and the real Gill.
Is that the first time we've done that?
I don't know. That's a good point, though, actually.
If I could use Josh like that.
Okay, come on.
It's really the only problem is that he can fight back.
Oh, my God. You know these mics pick up everything, right?
Uh-oh.
They pick up a lot more than the old mics did.
It's true.
This show is about to get problematic. We used to just lean away from the mic. Now it's like it's still going to pick
there's
up.
nothing that we can do. God, maybe we do need Christian.
Stop saying that. Lawyers, am I right?
Yuck. The real Josh Gill asks, Superman had to live in the sun. Martian Manhunter became a planet. Can we put this to rest now and just agree that John is the most powerful?
Right. That old chestnut of Martian Manhunter is basically considered to be about as strong as Superman. Plus, he has a bunch of other powers, and he's the best at those, too.
And a planet.
So we've talked a lot about how Superman Prime, our Superman, not only lives well into that future, but then at some point goes into his fortress inside the sun, where he's literally keeping the sun working. That is also sort of tied to part of All-Star Superman. Mm-hmm. There's an idea in All-Star Superman that he flies into the sun to like restart it because Solaris like kills the sun in that book. And then you get this sort of idea that Superman is like keeping the sun working. It's sort of what he is doing in DC 1 million. So that's maybe another little like pseudo loop. It's not really because the timelines don't work, but the notion of him doing that is connected.
Yeah.
So Superman is doing that for 15,000 years. And like I said, his presence in the sun and his like, I think it's by force of will, is actually granting additional powers to the descendants, like to his descendants.
Yeah.
if he wasn't in the sun, they would have less power and fewer powers.
Weird.
Which is also crazy.
Yeah.
You know? So he's doing a lot in there. He's got a lot going on, and he's essentially a god. Also consider that the sun gives him power. Mm-hmm. But instead of like in All-Star Superman, where the sun is kind of killing him because he's overexposed, in this one, he's basically like omnipotent.
Mm-hmm. He's over 5,000, yeah. Over 9,000.
Oh, he's definitely over 9,000.
Yeah.
Martian Manhunter basically uses his shape-shifting ability to basically like spread himself and... Oh yeah.
Spread as wide as you can.
I was said Martian Gape Hunter. He basically melds himself with the planet Mars. He essentially becomes the planet.
Wow.
And Martian Manhunter is one of the other characters that is the original one that lives all the way to that era.
Oh,
and he does that by just being part of the planet. Now, we're talking which one is more powerful. I'd love to say John. Mm-hmm. Because I think he's cool. I think he's cooler.
And he's earned it.
But it's probably Superman.
Wow.
You know? Although, the whole plot of Vandal Savage and Solaris is that they're going to take the last piece of kryptonite, and in the 853rd century, they're going to fire it at the sun and kill Superman before he can leave the sun.
Jeez.
Which means that even in the sun, they are convinced that kryptonite can kill him.
I mean,
we never get to test that theory because the ultimate reveal is that because it's connected to the 20th century, Huntress makes the observation of like, oh, we actually don't have to save the Justice League right now. We have 83,000 years to plan how to stop this.
Yeah.
And so they do.
Wow.
And so all of these things that you think were like planned for Solaris and Vandal Savage, you learn were like replaced with something else. Or it was all part of this elaborate like double conspiracy where it's like, oh no, we were always going to stop this because we've been planning it for 83,000 years.
Jesus.
Which is sort of a fun way to use time travel, I think. But we never get to test whether or not kryptonite would have actually killed Superman. But people seem to be convinced that it would happen. So maybe if he's still vulnerable like that, even after all that exposure to the sun, even after being this sort of godlike character, then maybe the case is that Jean-Jean's, who can meld his being with a full planet, is the most powerful of the two of them.
Wow. Crazy.
Right?
Holy shit.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the next question.
I mean, what a hell for him, though. I mean, not only is his entire species gone and he watched them burn in psychic and physical fire.
Yeah.
But now he's like just alone for 83,000 years. I can't think of a worse hell for a Martian.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it sounds fantastic.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
Yeah. I can finally read the books. My glasses are broken.
Oh, fuck that. The Twilight Zone?
Yeah. It's like the first episode or something.
Yeah.
It's one that I was always like, that's ridiculous. And then I need glasses now. And I'm like, that sounds like a hellscape.
Yeah, join the club.
Yeah, fuck. Just the other day, I left my glasses somewhere that I couldn't get them for a little bit. And it was just like a hell. I was like, well, I guess I'll fucking just put my head in the sand.
I mean, it's not that bad. Your prescription's not even that bad.
It's not, but it fucking gives me headaches now if I'm not using it. Like, I do not like not having them.
Oh.
I've become wholly dependent on them.
Wow.
Yeah. That's why we keep doing this podcast, so you should enjoy it.
Yeah.
Wholly dependent on them.
I come over and I take your glasses from you and I say, we're doing another episode. You go, fine. And then I give your glasses back at the end. Yeah. I
mean, I have no idea how I edit this, but...
Poorly.
I can't say it. That's why I never edit them. The next question comes from Axel H90.
All right.
Who asks, what would you say is your favorite arc during the storyline?
Oh, right. Because there's lots of tie-ins and stuff like that. Yeah. I would say The coolest tie-in for me is the Martian Manhunter one. Martian Manhunter 1 million, where you really explore the fact that he became a fucking planet, is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like, it's a neat concept. It's a neat idea. I think that's one of my favorite pieces of the whole thing. I guess you could... Oh, geez Louise. I think some of the Superman ones are neat, too. Not only because there are... there's those Superboy clones like I talked about, the Justice Legion S. But you also have Cal Kent. You've got Superman Prime 1 million. You've also got, throughout the stories, they reference a lot of other Supermen. That idea of like a Superman that marries the fifth dimensional imp, like I just want more of that stuff.
Yeah.
So the Superman tie-ins, I would say, are all pretty solid. I like that Martian Manhunter one a lot. I think the Batman one is kind of clever, that idea of the prison planet and like recreating the conditions that make a Batman is kind of it makes it very mythic, like it's predestined, like if you mix these ingredients you get a Batman. There's kind of something neat about that. But my favorite is definitely that Martian Manhunter one.
All right, let's leave Instagram and head on over to email.
Chicka the email.
Hope it's from a female.
It's not.
Whenever it is, it's not good.
Oh no.
2 stars.
Oh god, so funny. So funny.
Email comes from Vance.
Refrigeration? Bob Vance?
Bob Vance, Vance Refrigeration. Who asks, can you talk about Solaris? What is it? What does it want?
Right. So, I've alluded to it a couple of times, but I'll use this as an opportunity to talk about Solaris's arc, or loop, more like. So, Solaris is an artificial intelligence. It's a living thing, but a machine. It's an artificial sun. In the context of the 853rd century, they believe it's been defeated and reprogrammed to be benevolent. They use it to basically warm the outer planets of the solar system. So it basically operates like a second sun in our solar system. Solaris infects the 1 million hour man with a techno virus. And that Hour Man is an android. When they go back in time to the 20th century, after the Justice League goes to the future, the virus activates, it destroys or affects the Whirligog so that the Justice Legion can't go back to their time. It also releases this virus that basically like shuts down machines and corrupts machines, but it also makes people go crazy. Like it like amps up their anger and rage and impulsiveness and stuff like that. We see it affect characters like Firestorm and Oracle and Blue Beetle and all sorts of characters. So that is happening. They're trying to figure out how to stop it, and they basically decide that, or the Atom discovers that it's not fully a virus, it's more like a program, and it's trying to do something. What it wants to do is find suitable housing, because it's a very futuristic program. So what they end up doing in the past is they build a Solaris, and then the program leaves people's bodies, and that, like, the virus leaves and goes into Solaris. But then that means they've created Solaris, the tyrant sun.
Okay.
Then they, after a fight with the future Starman, he's flung to the other end of the universe. But then it sets off the actual history, which is that he has this vendetta against Superman, that the Supermen through the ages always defeat him. Eventually, he kills some Supermen. One Superman eventually, I think, loses his life, but finally reprogramming him. And we end up back in the loop in the 853rd century, where he sends his own programming back in time to ensure he is created.
Jesus. What the fuck?
But that's basic. I mean, when you look at it that way, because it's a loop, what does Solaris want? I mean, Solaris just wants not to be erased from existence. You know, like the vendetta with Superman is almost just a thing that perpetuates it existing. Like it's the thing that drives it to go back in time and make these changes, and it's, you know, or quote unquote changes. Like it's only, you could say its only reason for existing is existing, and the only way that it knows how to do that is in opposition to Superman. So it's actually a relatively simple motivation. It doesn't have bigger designs than that.
And if there's nothing else you could say with this, it's
I don't think so.
This arc is insane.
I do think you would enjoy it. This feels like one of those ones that I think you would like, because you are introduced to like very colorful characters, new versions of things. It's not like impossible to follow, but it does have that sort of signature, like, what the fuck?
That like rack your brain.
That je ne sais fuck of...
Nice. All right. Time for the last question, which means we're leaving email and heading over to Reddit.
Oh, where everyone's nice and no one's ever mean.
That's right. First question comes from Spider Cuts.
Oh, release the Spider Cuts?
It sounds like a bicycle gang's like hairdresser.
A cheap hairdresser.
Yeah. Welcome to. It's even with the Z too, so it's literally a Spider Cut.
Super Cuts.
Or in locally, Best Cuts.
Ooh. There was another one where I grew up, but what was it?
I always thought it would be really smart.
Price Cuts? No, it was... I can't think of it.
I always thought it'd be really smart to open up a hairdresser outside of like a college or a university and call it Class Cuts.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I like that even when you're pitching business ideas, it just starts with the name. It's the same approach to pitching a podcast. You start with the name, we'll figure the rest out.
Did you realize I just went from naming bands to naming podcasts to naming businesses? That's all I ever do.
I'm an ideas man, Michael. I think I proved that with Fuck Mountain.
Spider Cuts asks, what were the best tie-ins to the main 1 million series?
Oh, I guess I already answered this, but I would say it's the Superman ones are probably the most relevant. The Batman one, I think, is interesting. You know, that I like the mirrored histories.
Yeah.
And the Martian Manhunter one, I think, is fascinating. I mean, it's a character I already love. And then to see this sort of new evolution where he's like, when I outlive people and friends and the things I was barely connected to in the first place because they weren't even my own, I just go back to my home and I become it. I just become my place. You know, like there's something kind of, I don't know, it feels like... I don't know what the spirituality is, but it feels like you could make a connection between it and some sort of Eastern spirituality. You know, it's something about like giving your energy back to a place or to your home or something like that. There's something kind of neat in that book. Yeah.
I just came up with, I mean, this is a crazy idea for this podcast, but I came up with a Dial H character.
We've never done that before.
I know. It just popped in my head and I need to say it.
Sure, yeah. So yeah, if you had the H dial, you dial hero.
Yeah.
What would happen?
So it's a character. It's an elephant that only shows up when he's least needed. His name is Irrelevant.
God damn it. Is he like teleported to the place he's needed least?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's irrelevant?
Yeah.
Is it where he's needed least or where they've just solved the problem he could have solved for them?
Yeah, that works.
And as soon as they solve it, then he shows up and he's like, I heard you guys need help eating a bunch of peanuts. And they go like, no, sorry, Irrelevant. We finished them.
Yeah, like that. Again, I went name first. I figured out.
Sorry, is this your? But this is your pitch for a 1 million. You want your relevant 1 million? Yeah. I like it. Yeah, that's good.
Nice.
God, man, that might have made a fun segment in another life.
But That's not the universe we're in. But
No.
we are in a different universe where we have a game to play.
Yeah, baby.
That's right. Back again to play our favorite game. Can you guess the name of the character based on who someone who does not read comic books can describe that character to us?
You almost lost it. That was masterful. You just gave. You should be like, my name's Richard. This is my master class, and the master class is not fucking up the thing you're reading from.
Yeah. I know this is a thing that every actor has to learn, but
well, actually, most actors learn how to do it without reading.
Oh no.
Well, except for Brando. I think they just put his lines on cue cards near the end there, yeah.
Yeah. So, if you don't know this game, I send a photo of a DC character to my wife who does not read comic books, nor does she care for them. She has no idea who I sent her, and then she sends back clues to help describe what she sees, and we try to guess who she's talking about. I know it, the doctor does not.
Nice.
Got 4 clues.
All right.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm going to go wrong and strong. It's worked pretty well for me.
All right. Oh, she's starting real vague here.
Okay.
She's starting Lou Vega here. I don't know why Mama number 5's in my mind today. It's a real theme.
Do you know if you made 4 more clones of Kobe Bryant, then eventually you'd get to Black Mamba number 5?
Oh, you know what? It was because I was listening to Doughboys today, and Weiger said he's like we're all still waiting on pins and needles for Mambo number 6. I really like that. Yeah.
Oh God.
First clue. Really works out those neck muscles.
Really works out those neck muscles. Okay. Who's a good big neck character?
She's not wrong.
I'm just going to throw one out there. Black Adam.
Not even close.
Okay.
Number 2.
All right.
Spews blood and or Kool-Aid when needed.
Oh, Atrocitus?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
Number 3.
Okay.
Their symbol is 2 butts holding a balloon up.
Butts holding a balloon up. Neck muscles. Spews blood or fire?
Yeah. No. Yeah, blood or Kool-Aid.
Blood or Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. 2 butts.
It does look like that.
Neck muscles. Blood or Kool-Aid. Oh, Jesus. God. This is a tough one.
Oh, yeah, I went real hard with this one. The spitting thing is that's tripped me up a bit here. 2 butts. I don't even have like a wrong and strong right now. Okay, just got to think something. Okay, I went with Atrocitus before because I thought that was the spitting blood thing. That's not it. But neck muscles is still got to be either someone big or it's just a very long neck. The symbol. God. Let's just say, just so that I can register a guess. Let's say Mercury. No.
Okay.
So the final clue, I will give you my clue because I think hers is, you're never going to get it.
You think hers is too difficult?
Yeah.
Then give me that one first because you can always give me yours after.
Okay. Because you're willing to go to 5.
Yeah.
Oh.
We've done it before.
Okay. Also, to be fair, her clue number 0 was, what the fuck is this? So,
sure. Yeah, well, that doesn't help.
all right, clue number 4. What came first? This character or those trendy eye tattoos?
Ooh.
Which I think actually does more harm than good.
Okay. It's not fate.
No.
Yeah, okay.
No. Do you want number 5?
Yeah.
Number 5, from me.
Okay.
If the Knuckle V got the fly treatment and became a superhero.
Oh, God. That's so specific.
Yeah.
Skinless insect centaur superhero.
Also got the fly treatment.
Fuck, I'm not going to get this. Helgramite.
No.
Fuck.
You were close with an H.
Was I?
No,
What?
just the fact that it was an H.
Oh, okay.
Thing that you said.
What is it?
Hagor.
Hagor. Holy shit, you went deep. You weren't fucking around when you... Damn it. I was so close with Red Lanterns. I was so goddamn close with Red Lanterns. I knew I should have stuck with that. I knew I should have stuck with that. I knew I was close with Atrocitus. Son of a bitch.
2 butts holding up a balloon.
I bet Bokelman was screaming at his phone. Fuck. Damn, that is the first stump in a long time.
I know. You stepped into the stump.
Stump chunk. Blah. It's just a sad one because I lost.
Yeah.
That was good. Nice. I see what level of game we're going for now here. Jesus Christ.
It's been challenging to defeat you. While still creating a fair game.
Yes, yeah.
Why do I have to play?
The trick is to have guests on the podcast so you don't make it this difficult.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
You want them to get it.
Yeah. That's 100%. It's a sliding scale.
Yeah.
What I've been doing now is I literally just go DC characters and then scroll around and randomly choose somebody.
That's a good way to do it. Yeah. I like that. I would be curious to know if anyone, Bokelman or otherwise, actually got this.
That would be crazy.
Yeah.
That's a really good one. If you have, you can let us know through our various social media platforms or send us a question for next week. You can finally do that.
Yeah, I know it's been so long. I think we promised this episode like 2 months ago, but we're finally going to do a villains team up episode.
Oh.
So send your questions for that. It could be official supervillain teams like the Legion or the Secret Society or, the Rogues. It could be temporary partnerships. It could be villain buddies, like Sinestro and Black Adam.
Temporary partnerships, just like my marriage.
Just like his podcast.
Yeah.
What?
Huh? Oh, no. Everything I have is riding on this.
Oh, God.
I put all my chips in this.
Oh, no. So, yeah, send your questions. We're going to do villain team-ups next week.
And you could do so through our Facebook.
Dr. DC Podcast.
Twitter.
At Dr. DC.
Instagram.
Dr. DC Podcast.
Email.
DrDCPodcast@gmail.com.
Reddit.
r/Dr_DC.
And of course, the doc phone is always open.
That's right. 208-917-3238.
Nobody ever wants to call it.
Or 208-917-DCEU if you're nasty.
Oh, yeah, man. Call now. We're always up.
We're always up. We're insomniacs. Yeah. Call us, please.
Call us. Help. Send help.
It's not sexy at all.
No. And of course, go to our website.
DrDCPodcast.com or .ca.
I really got to redesign that thing. That was, the thing that was inside It's supposed to be inside. It came outside.
I told you, these mics pick up everything. They're picking up thoughts now.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Man, I usually say most of those, but the ones I keep in.
Glad we're past that Jake Murphy thing now.
Oh! Righteous!
No.
Of course, you heard at the beginning of this episode, we love those 5-star reviews.
That's right. We do keep them coming. We've gotten over 100. We will be doing the Lord of the Rings miniseries. That is coming
this month.
Oh, shit. This is breaking news.
But mostly because I was talking to Kyle Clark the other day, and Kyle Clark says that every November he watches all the Lord of the Rings. And I was like, wow, sounds like a guest.
Let's do it. Anything for content, baby.
That's right.
So that's coming. But yeah, keep those reviews coming in. We love to get them. We love that we've only been getting 5-star ones too.
On this one, surprisingly.
Yeah.
Considering the state of comic books.
Yeah, it is pretty surprising.
Yeah, which also makes me think, like, what side are we on?
I mean...
Are we Chappelling this? We're really getting the wrong audience?
Oh, no.
We're putting out the wrong message?
I hope not. God.
Oh, God, you're taking all of this serious? Oh, no. All those terrible things I said.
Yikes. Yeah, that's
Your
possible.
Honor.
Yeah.
Is this our Chicago 7? Oh, no.
Oh, no.
We're going to trial.
My God.
We're the good guys.
So dark.
That's...
You can also join our Patreon.
Hey, $5 a month gets you an extra episode of the Dr. DC podcast. Sometimes we talk about comic book stuff. Sometimes we don't. You never know what you're going to get. The Patreon's like a box of chocolates.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, let's quote another problematic property.
Yeah. In the fact that sometimes we say things that we might regret.
$7 a month. You get extra stuff on top of that too, including a video episode. You get to help decide what we do for like an episode every month. Merch discounts. There's bonus stuff when we do our big, months like Doctober, Docmas, things like that.
But guess what? That's not it.
That isn't it.
Maybe, times are tough. You still want to give us money though? We still want to take it.
Oh, we definitely want to take it.
We found a tier.
Yeah.
$1.
There's a $1 tier. If you want to give us a hand, give us a little bit of support.
You don't get anything back, but we just take $1.
Yes, you do, but you just made fun of it because you don't like it. But we get to talk about.
You get to have a book club.
We get to talk about a fun comic book every month. Yeah, it's a book club. It's fucking fun.
You know what I love about it? Is that I know where all the dorks are going to be in one place.
No, not my lunch money. Yeah, $1.
We should have called it the lunch money.
$1 a month. You get to be part of the book club, and your support, helps us keep making cool things.
That's right.
Both here and on our other podcast, Ghost Facers, a Supernatural rewatch. We are rewatching every episode of the CW Supernatural.
The main feed? That's what I call that podcast.
Oh, yeah.
That's the main feed.
That's what I call my dick.
Yeah,
I call it the main feed.
I'm gonna main feed Dean.
Oh God! But yeah,
vein.
If you like what we talk about over here, and then you want to apply it to like some sexy CW like paranormal stuff, go check out Ghost Facers. It's a ton of fun.
Also, we've been talking some DC stuff on Ghost Facers.
Yeah, we're finally cross-pollinating. It's not only talking Supernatural here.
Chocolate butter, chocolate and the peanut butter and the chocolate.
Yeah.
The lines are blurring.
Yeah. Yeah, we're guesting on our own podcast.
All we need to do is get Jensen inside of a bat suit and we'll all be set. I mean, there's photos online. Have you seen those photos?
Oh, yeah. I want to get him out of that bat suit.
To peel it off of him.
Get out of my dreams. Get out of that bat suit.
Into my Impala.
Into my Batmobile.
All right, that is it for this week.
Adios.
Ciao.
Heroes, they always fight for what is right. Live with danger and adventure, they are men of might.
This was a Brain Freeze podcast.